How are you doing today? That is one of the most common questions that people both ask and get asked in the United States today. And as menial and as common as it does seem, I want to try to explore the effects that this question has had on our development, as well as the way in which we think about problems of being and mental health. So I would assume that if I were to ask you how are you doing, your answer would be fine, good. And if you were feeling negative, the word choice that you would use would probably be more neutral than an extreme. So if you were to be doing bad, you would probably give an answer of, oh, I'm just doing okay, or something like that. Now, it's interesting, though, that a question that's really seemingly trying to get at your being and your state of mental health elicits such a apathetic response. And so this is a real problem that I want to explore, is how is the question, or how is the answering of the question, how are you doing, affecting the way in which we both think about mental health, but also the way in which we stigmatize mental health. So why should we ask this question? And I think it's relatively obvious this day of age, especially on a college campus, that mental health is one of the largest problems that young people face today. So a psychologist from the Illinois Institute of Technology, Patrick Corrigan, equates the problem and the stigma of mental illness to the same category as racism and sexism. So as we can see, like, all three of these are large problems, but it's just interesting to think of how large of a problem mental health is. So it's really important that we're able to answer questions. Now, on the question of how does this operate, right? So it's definitely a two-way street, and that's something else I want to explore, is that, you know, when I ask the question, how are you doing today? Is it just a greeting as we equate it to say hello, or am I really trying to get at something else? So it'd be really interesting to explore that, but also how the responder responds. So if they're responding with a genuine answer of how are you doing, and they say something like, oh, my day today was great and this is why, or if they choose to go with a answer that would elicit less questioning, such as I'm fine, I'm good, I'm doing well, how are you, and trying to deflect the question back on another person. So the goal of this question and the goal of this talk then is to really get the audience to think as when someone says, how are you doing today? I want to challenge both you, but also other people, to really ask yourself, are you really and are you actually doing just fine?